I've been up early. All right, and it looks like we are live. What is up, everybody? Welcome, Squad. Welcome to Slav Guns, and thank you once again to Derek, Northwest Gun Reviewers, for joining us and co-hosting our ongoing coverage of Virtual SHOT Show. And I guess it's not Virtual SHOT Show week anymore. We're turning it into SHOT Show month and possibly SHOT Show season. Once again, because we have people watching and lots of questions and demand for it. So let me actually just move the window. So Derek, thank you for joining me, buddy.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And so one of the cool things is, so now we are streaming to YouTube.
Okay.
But also we're streaming to Facebook. They unjailed me. Now that the elections are over, I guess I am not a threat anymore. So we're doing that. And hopefully fairly soon we're going to be able to stream to Odyssey as well. And that's going to be starting pretty quickly, fairly soon.
Oh, I just want to make an announcement. I'm officially up on Odyssey now. You guys can find me at Northwest Gun Reviewers over there. And you can find me at UGE2 at Northwest Gun Reviewers also.
Fantastic. Yeah, so that's actually a different platform. That's going to be interesting. And I will actually pull up our links. So we've decided, so now we have more people joining. And now we have people watching on Facebook and YouTube. So that's awesome. So we decided, so we did 3 of these now. This is day number 4. And honestly, I got to tell you, I know we were talking offline about this, but even though there's no SHOT Show this year, no official SHOT Show in person, the virtual meetings that we're holding right now are doing better than the SHOT Show videos I did last year, which is just awesome. I did not expect that there was going to be so much interest and demand for the coverage that we're doing.
No, it's a big shock to me too, honestly. After looking at the views and everything for the last couple of days, I'm really shocked on how well this is actually doing.
Yeah, and I think you know what it is. It's the industry folks. I mean, we're getting our media lists, and we're still getting those product announcements. But if the people who I feel like most kind of left out to is you guys, the viewers, who don't actually have don't have access to going to a SHOT Show. And more importantly, immediately after SHOT Show, we generally have the Great American Outdoor Show, and that's been canceled. So the only place where you're going to be able to get news on brand new products is going to be company pages and generally online, and just kind of like what we're doing right here. So I'm really excited that we're able to do this, but more importantly, I'm actually really happy that we've been able to bring on companies who attend SHOT Show, but generally aren't going to be exhibiting at SHOT Show. Mm-hmm. So, or who are basically on the fence. Now, don't get me wrong, I love being called Mr. Ruger Guns. I loved having Ruger on. I loved having Taurus on. But I also did appreciate having smaller companies on as well, such as Anarchy Outdoors, Tracked Optics, which is also going to be consumer direct. It was awesome having them on here. I hope we have a couple more optics companies join us soon. So it's awesome. It's really, really good. And I think with the interest we've been seeing, I mean, we've been getting thousands of views. And what's interesting, I know I'm saying that a lot today, what's most interesting and peculiar is on live streams, the majority of the views from a live stream are going to come during the time that we're doing the live stream. And over the last 3 days, we've had about anywhere from 300 to about 600 people join us live watching us. But those videos on replay, we've had thousands more watch the replays, and that is amazing. That is completely awesome that there are so many people watching the replays, watching the company interviews, which is cool.
Yeah, I like it. It's been a lot of fun so far.
And I didn't get a chance to do this yet, but we will absolutely have this. So the replays, I will actually have them already downloaded, and I will crop them down and you'll have individual videos that you can go straight to the company interviews, which I know a lot of you guys are really interested in, and a couple of updates. So since we're talking about new products, one of the products that we talked about just got delivered about an hour ago, which is the Timmy Glock trigger, which it's going to take a little bit to get used to. It's like Timmy making Glock stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm about to get one of those.
So I will play with this. It'll be interesting. So it looks like it's a 3-pound trigger, and it is compatible with Gen 3s and 4s. And I have the perfect firearm for this, which is going to be the Zev OZ9 pistols I have. So in one of them, I want to keep the Zev OZ9, and in another one, we'll have this installed, and we will run them back to back. And actually, what's cool is like it looks like they're including all the tools you need to install it, like a little punch, springs. So we'll probably have a detailed video on this. Now, in full fairness, from Timmy, I reached out to them because I have that new Ruger, which is not yet released, and it has the trigger from Trigger Tech. And we're going to be doing a video comparing all of the publicly available triggers for the Ruger Precision Rifle platform. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be the Trigger Tech versus the Timmy versus the jarred trigger. And fairly soon, we should have it. So that is awesome. I will look forward to playing with this. We'll have a video on this soon. And actually, speaking of triggers, so a couple of days ago, I posted a video. Not a video, sorry. I posted a photo with our Mossberg Patriot and 6.5 PRC that was Gucci'd out. We upgraded the trigger to a jarred trigger, which is fantastic. Upgraded the stock to a Boyd stock, which is really cool. And it's been quite good. So that is what I've been playing with. And we are going to be joined in a couple of minutes by one of Derek's colleagues and friends, which is Gary from Adaptive Tactical, and we're going to be talking about modern sporting rifles and modern pew-pew. So, in the meantime, what have you been up to? What are you most excited about?
Planning on some builds for this year. Figure out what I'm going to do and seeing if making some announcements. So, you want to talk about the 37XC project?
Go ahead.
Okay. So both me and Slav here have talked about he wanted to do a Shy Tech or something. I kind of got him into doing a 37XC with me. And it's 37XC was brought in by David Tubbs, who came on a mutual friend of ours, the Dark Lord of Optics, his channel about 2 weeks ago now. And I've been really interested in this caliper for a while. So me and Slav have this thing going on. So I've kind of convinced him to build one off of a Ruger RPR platform, and I want to build one off of a Savage platform. And we've been talking about meeting up and shooting these and seeing how far we can get these things out to. Now, let's mind you, David Tubbs actually competes with this caliper at the King of 2 Mile. So we know this caliper can reach out to some extreme lengths. So I've been working on this week off the screen, trying to find a place where we can go shoot. And I think I found the place for us to go to, which is really cool because it's by a company not too far from the company where both me and him mutually work with, and which is Anarchy Outdoors. So we haven't made an official announcement on it yet, nor where this is going to be, but it's something that we're thinking about doing, because it would be interesting to see how this turns out, shooting it off same caliper but off 2 different platforms.
Yeah. So and that's actually a really good point. So it's not a secret. I've mentioned it. I've mentioned it before in a couple of videos in one of the earlier live streams. So one of my goals for this year is probably midsummer. I am going to be flying out to Russia to go shoot King of 1 Mile and King of 2 Miles. So for King of 1 Mile, I have the gun already pretty much in my head, and the caliber we're going to be shooting is 300 PRC. I wanted to shoot King of 2 miles, but I know, so one of the options is 338 Lapua Magnum, and even though it can reach out there, it's already going to be subsonic way earlier, and if you watch King of 2 Mile videos, you need something with enough energy still there in order to leave a splash. And that's why a lot of the people who are going to be shooting it, they're going to be shooting with a 416 Barrett or 50 BMG or like 375 Shy-Tech or 408 Shy-Tech. And I was a little bit on the fence because that would require a whole brand new gun, and do I want to spend the money? Do I want to buy something? And just kind of getting used to it. And then that's when Derek told me about it. I was like, well, what about 37XC? And as it turns out, you can actually, because it's based on the 338 Lapua bolt face, you can rebarrel a Ruger Precision rifle in 37XC, which some people have actually done. So that could be a really solid backup plan, and it's a really interesting idea.
Well, and then also the good thing about it is if you wanted to, you take the 33XC reamer, you run it into the 38 Lapua barrel, and you can turn it into a 33XC. So you have the best of both worlds. You have the 37 and 33.
I like muito grande. We need it big.
Yes. Well, that's what I was thinking about doing, because that way, if I wanted to, I could being a savage, I could spin the barrel off and headspace it in a matter of minutes. So
cool. All right. So it looks like our guest is on. So what I want to do really quickly before we bring Gary on, there were two big things that were kind of big-ish things that were announced or made public since we did our stream on Thursday, which is, number one, we have a new pistol. I want to cover those real quick. So number one, we have a brand new pistol by Browning. Let me share the screen. Cool. So we have a brand new Buckmark Plus Vision Rimfire 22, which is suppressor ready. So I'm a big fan of the Buckmarks, and one of the reasons why, before the Ruger Mark IVs came out, they were relatively hard to take apart. And the easiest one was the Smith & Wesson 22 Victory. The problem with the 22 Victory was that they weren't super duper accurate, or the 22A before it. So the Buckmark was kind of like in between. So Browning released this, which looks kind of cool. Not sure how I feel about it, but it's cool. And I'm not sure what the price is. Whoa. $719.
Well, when you think about it, that's up there with the Mark IV Target, the Mark IV Target competition.
I think that's a little bit more.
No, the Mark IV Target's right around the 650, 750 area.
Okay. Now, the one thing is, so this is actually the second one. This one was just announced today. The first one that was announced like a day ago was this guy. The Buckmark Plus Vision Americana suppressor ready, which I kind of find it a little hideous. Don't get me wrong. It's like, I love patriotic things, but this just looks hideous.
Maybe if it was all blue and not like a third blue and all the rest black, I'd probably be down for that. But
yes, it just looks wacky. Now, I will say I am a fan of the high vis sight, and their suppressor ready, it looks like. So when you have a rimfire can on here, it's just going to work flawlessly in here. So that's how it looks without that fake suppressor thingy.
Not a fan of it.
And what's this one? Yeah, $749 MSRP, so call it $650 to $700.
I just want a basic Buckmark just to go grouse hunting with and rabbit hunting.
And the basic Buckmarks are actually really awesome. They're really, really cool pistols. This is
that one right there. That's perfect.
$599. Okay.
set up with iron, just set up with a pick rail. You got your 22 compensate, which you really don't need. But, I mean, and it's got the traditional gold Browning trigger. I mean,
yes.
What more do you need?
And they're awesome. Oh, they have a optics ready model as well.
Actually, we're going to be doing some Buckmark stuff on my channel. I got a friend that I'm helping rebuild his Buckmark, so we're going to be doing some stuff with the Tactical Solutions barrel, pick rail, and micro red dot system. So everybody look forward to that one.
Fantastic. All right, so that's that. I'm not going to spend too much more time on it, but go on Browning's website. They do have it under new product releases. Now, the other thing that became news was there was an article published by a former executive of Kimber, and Kimber has notoriously been, they haven't been the staunchest of the Second Amendment, and they have been in New York for a while, and they finally just decided to move. Now, there was an article published where a former employee of Kimber went on the record basically saying that they're asking for comments on the new movement for going with constitutional carry. And his comment was that, no, we shouldn't, and there should be strict requirements, and we should be controlling. He basically doesn't want people just walking around with guns. Kimber, I just literally got this email 15 minutes ago. So I'm not going to pull up my email on here, and I don't see... Oh, here we go. I can see it in browser, so there we go. Now you guys can see it. Kimber statement on Montana constitutional carry editorial. Kimber Manufacturing has recently been made aware of opinions article published respectively in Sydney Herald, entitled "Being Pro-Gun Also Means Being Pro-Responsibility." The author of this article, Ryan Busey, is no longer an employee of Kimber and has not worked for Kimber since August 2020. His statements and opinions expressed regarding the opposition to the Montana House Bill 102 are not authorized or attributable to Kimber. Kimber is a proud supporter of constitutional rights to keep and bear arms, said Leslie Edelman, CEO and owner of Kimber. We must support organizations that defend these rights, and we're committed to providing the people of this great nation with the finest premium firearms available. So, voila, let's put an end to this. Much like...
What's sad is I live in Montana. I didn't even hear about this.
Well, you're working too much. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, I mean, Kimber is basically going out there on the record. They are supporting the Second Amendment, and it looks like constitutional carry as well. Much like, I know in the past it's been an issue with Ruger, where Bill Ruger was pro-gun control in a lot of ways. But obviously the current company is very different than the original founders, and they're the biggest Second Amendment supporters that I know in a publicly traded space. And it's good to see that Kimber came out and just basically say, hey, look, this is what we are. So it looks like it's good with the current ownership. And once again, we're now in Alabama. All right. So enough with that. Let's bring our guest on. Okay. And Derek, I will let you handle this guy.
Okay.
That sounded so wrong. I will let you handle this. And once again, I am going to try to go through the questions. If there is something that is pertinent to right there in the meantime, I will address those. And otherwise, we will leave the floor to Gary, and then we'll take the questions at the end. So anything regarding products. And once again, the really cool part is that they are a private company, so they can discuss pretty much anything they want to discuss.
Yes, and they are from the Pacific Northwest. So this is one of the companies that I first worked with, starting my channel. And actually my very first video was with Gary. So everybody, I want to introduce, this is Gary from Adaptive Tacticals. A great company. I have some of their stuff myself, but we'll bring this back on here in a little bit. Gary, welcome. You have the floor.
Thank you. Idaho's a constitutional carry state, so we're all about that conversation here in Idaho too. Matter of fact, I think it was the same day that California announced a lot of new regulations and stuff. I think it was a couple years ago that Idaho actually announced to kind of thumb the nose saying, hey, we just approved a constitutional carry in Idaho. So that was a good thumbs up for Idaho. It's a great state. And we're located just outside of Boise in a town called Nampa. So we make the majority of our items right here in Nampa. So our molding facility is just down the street. We have a production facility right here in Nampa. So we do our best to support, Made in USA for all of our accessories. So basically, newer company per se compared to some of these other companies that you were just talking about, Browning and Ruger. So we are just tiny little pups compared to those great companies. So we started our business in 2013, I believe is kind of when we launched. We kind of started kicking it around in 2011 and then finally brought it to fruition about 2013. Our first business, to give you a little history, we started our first business in 1999 called Knox Industries. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that brand or not, but we started.
So.
You what?
I said very much so.
Oh, great. So we started that in my garage in 1999, and we built that up, and we sold that business after building up all of our recoil technology. We had the Spec Op stock, we had the folding Spec Op stock, 1022 stocks, our Axiom rifle, which is kind of early on that modular rifle platform that is so popular today. But ours had an integrated recoil system in that, and we built up quite a cult following, and then got the attention of Blackhawk, and then they purchased Knox Industries in 2007, and I relocated from California and was a product manager at Blackhawk until they were purchased in 2010 by ATK, which is now Vista Outdoors. So, and our Knox stocks, our little tiny stock company, is still part of Vista today. You can see the Spec Ops. I think it's on its third generation stock. There's still our 22 stock. They still carry a little Axiom RF, or Axiom Rimfire stock. So the remnants of our first company is still in the industry as well. So that's fun to see that continue on, even in the midst of how busy Vista is making ammo. So that's kind of the initial start for our business. And we relocated our family from Virginia Beach, where I lived when I worked at Blackhawk, and ATK allowed product managers to basically relocate anywhere. And Blackhawk had a nice facility here in Meridian, Idaho, and we relocated our family here. And we already had family here, my previous business partner, Jim Bentley, and we decided to go ahead and start up Adaptive. Similar product line in the sense that we do shotgun stocks, rifle stocks for both 1022 platforms, and then also AR platforms. And AR platforms, which I'll talk about a few products. Derek, you held up our stock as well. We can talk through a few new items, and that's kind of where we're at right now. Last year was a crazy whirlwind year. Everybody keeps asking us, when are you going to get your products back on the website and all that kind of stuff, and when are you going to start making product? What's going on over there? And we literally are making product every day and shipping it every day. It's just we never get enough inventory to activate that website, since a lot of our online dealers are busy. Our dealers, our distributors, they've all placed orders well in advance. So whenever we have excess inventory, we drop it on that website, and it usually disappears pretty quickly. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the questions I've been asking people that come on is, as a smaller company, how have you been handling the massive increase in demand that we've seen, and just kind of balancing it out between meeting the current demand and then not going crazy with increasing production, which might just drop off the cliff in the future, and that we've seen really people have issues with in 2012 and the last time that we've had such a big rush.
Yeah. 2019 was a slower year for a lot of different businesses, and I think that gave us all a little bit of a reality check that things can go back to the normal pace pretty quickly. And 2020 was the complete opposite. We doubled our business in 2020 compared to 2019, And we spend a lot of time, working with our vendors. Our vendors are under just as much pressure as we are. Like our molding facility molds magazines for different companies in the industry. They mold stocks for other companies in the industry. And they are just under as much pressure as we are to meet their customers' demands. So it's not just in our industry, it's, it multiplies all the way out through, our spring manufacturers. The same spring manufacturers might do springs for Magpul, they might do springs for Mission First and other companies that are out there. So it ripples all the way out. So we have to, forecast and plan ahead and make those important decisions early on to say, hey, we can order, 2,000 units of X product, or we can, bite the bullet and order that 10,000 units and, roll the dice for the future and hope that we make right decisions and forecasting for the future, in which, unfortunately, we did forecast a lot of things correctly. So, but you can't plan for, plastic vendors, shutting down because of fires, or you can't plan for, shipments that were lost or trucks that flipped over. There's always so many variables that you can't plan for. But we just have to look at our historical information and try to forecast the best we can. And like last year, we just ended up doubling a lot of those orders compared to previous years. One of the challenges, though, however, is you can't put too much pressure on those vendors because there's a line of people that want our spot in their production schedule. So you can only be a squeaky wheel so much before you start, driving your vendors crazy, or they just throw their hands up and say, hey, we're giving your production to someone else. That's less of a pain. So
here's a question, and it'd be interesting to see your point of view as an accessories manufacturer. A lot of the rumors going around. So, with the shortage of ammo, and I guess at this point we really could call it a shortage because we have everybody, both brand new gun owners, existing gun owners, hoarders, dealers, manufacturers. We're all looking for ammo. And it seems like there's some signs of firearm sales slowing down a little bit as a result of the lack of ammunition. Has that been impacting the accessories or your markets yet?
Yeah, you've seen some of the videos that Federal put out, right? Jason Vanderbrink put out.
Yes.
Did you see those?
Yes.
Not Federal's. Hornady, yes. Part of the reason Vista blames me for crashing their stock back in the past, but that's a different story.
So Jason Vanderbrink's a passionate guy, and he put out a great video talking about, actually, I think it's 2 videos, talking about, the demand on ammunition. And, that demand is coming from a lot of new shooters, a lot of new gun owners. The firearm sales is just, as you both know, it's just been extremely positive for this industry. But it definitely puts its stresses on different manufacturers like ammunition. For us, we usually kind of follow the waves a little bit too, even though we sell a lot to OEM manufacturers, especially our AR stock. So that demand is super strong pretty much right away. But a lot of the accessory sale wave that we see is a lot of times after, these big waves of firearm purchases, because as Mossberg pumps out or Ruger pumps out, a lot of, they're putting out as many firearms as they can, and they're not exactly fully decked out, accessorized to every possible option. They're trying to put out product and get in the hands of consumers during this hot buying market. So a lot of times, those people get those firearms, they're not necessarily super decked out, and then they start looking around and seeing people at the range. They start seeing things in magazines. They start seeing online reviews like you were just doing with some of those new Browning pistols, and they go, oh, I don't have that part. I don't have that adjustable stock in the back of my 1022. What is that about? So they start going out and looking for those accessories, and they start buying, after the fact. And hopefully, as we get those new shooters excited about firearms, they get excited about accessorizing, just like someone does when they buy their first car or they buy their first motorcycle. They're out there trying to find the best, funnest, accessory they can find to deck it out and take it from boring to, a race car. So.
And it's actually interesting that you bring that up, because I think in the beginning, when we first saw the increased demand during the COVID, during the riots, And it was your typical bread and butter firearms. It would be your polymer pistols, it would be your shotguns, and you'd be basically pretty much any scary looking AR-15. And that has almost like transitioned to even like precision bolt guns and hunting firearms. And I was talking to another manufacturer, smaller manufacturer, who makes accessories for precision rifles. And the order that he just placed with his suppliers is already 80% sold out before he's even getting one of them. And it's almost kind of like leaving, well, if you go on a website, there's nothing really to buy. And it's like, what's going to crack first? I mean, is it going to be the demand, or, I mean, and it seems like there really is that much demand.
Yeah, there is. It's amazing. Like I said, the amount of forward orders and forecasting that our customers are doing, is a good indicator of the strength of the market. I mean, you got your Cheaper Than Dirt, you got your Optics Planet, you got your Midway, you got everybody out there feeding directly into the direct consumer market. And we'll happily, as long as we're getting product into the customer's hands, we can point them to those sites as well, because we're trying to get the product out. And usually, with those sites, they're getting the product at a much better price than usually buying direct. A lot of customers like to buy direct, but consumers like you guys, you're super educated. You're out there studying the market, and you're seeing, hey, I can buy it direct, but I can save that extra $15 if I go to Optics Planet or to Cheaper Than Dirt or Midway, and maybe buy one other additional accessory with that saved $15. So we try to make sure and satisfy everybody, and keep some product on the website that's extra and available, but we are definitely getting product to consumers by getting it out to dealers, distributors, and those online retailers.
And actually, on that quick note, I am going to interject for a second. So one of the things we've been discussing is that we've had a lot of first-time gun buyers, but we really didn't know the numbers behind it. And I've heard anywhere between 2 million up to 5 million. And just yesterday, I came across an article from the NSSF, and it looks like, based on their data, it was 8.4 million new gun owners in 2020, which is just wow.
Did that break up further down? Because I heard it 7, just maybe a few months ago. So that sounds like the right number for sure. Did they break it down further? Handgun ownership versus long gun versus?
I have not seen that, but I'm sure it's probably in their press release, and it's roundabout. I mean, it's a really good estimate, which is great, and I'm sure a lot of those people, they're not your traditional red voters. It's a lot of people. It's literally anybody who is concerned and just buying a gun. And hey, you know what? I think this is the best thing that could have happened for the Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had three good friends, or high school friends, that called me just out of the blue. They, they're really good friends in the past, and they just called up and said, "Hey, we really feel we need to get a firearm, Gary, and you're in the industry. What do you recommend?" And I kind of went through the new shooter breakdown on what firearms to have, and so that was just an example of 3 people I knew that were not previously gun owners, and they were very excited. And I think each of them ended up buying probably 3 firearms. The handgun, the long gun, a shotgun kind of thing. So that's encouraging to hear. And that's just a little snippet of the industry. So,
and that'll turn into 11 guns and then 50,
and hopefully accessories. Hopefully adaptive accessories with that.
So speaking of accessories, for those who are not familiar with adaptive tactical, why don't you just break it down for us? What are you known for? Your product lines? What should people be looking for?
Yeah, great. Like I said, my brief introduction is we have pretty much a full docket of accessories. We offer accessories for mostly pump shotguns, which include stocks, forends, and different accessories like shell carriers and different things that are pretty common upgrades for home defense and for shooting. And then we also have a category of 1022 accessories, which includes long rifle stocks, our RM4, which is a full-length stock, our 1022 takedown stock, which we have 2 varieties of that. And then we also have a charger stock, and also some different accessories, barrels, and also a little drop leg platform, which is really handy. It carries 3 extra but, 25 round magazines, 30 round magazines on your drop leg platform. So that's kind of a fun accessory. And then we transition over to also our AR accessories, which is probably going to be our focus for this year. We have a rear stock, our EX AR stock, which we sell through a lot of OEM manufacturers. So a lot of smaller OEM manufacturers, like specialty guys that maybe buy 50, 100, all the way up to guys that are buying 2,000 stocks at a time. And we try to kind of fill that niche with our OEM business for the smaller manufacturers, because a lot of times they don't get the attention from some of the other larger OEM manufacturers. So we don't have the large minimums, and we can respond a little bit quicker to a lot of those specialty manufacturers, like companies like the AR 500, I believe it's made out of Wyoming. Two local guys like Founding Fathers Armory here, they'll buy 50 to 100 stocks at a time, and it gets our product out there. It meets a need for them so that they can fulfill their orders to their customers quicker, rather than have to buy, the same stocks through distribution or the same stocks at a higher price. So we try to help out the smaller manufacturers and hope that one day they are a big manufacturer and they continue to purchase.
Gary, did you have the stocks with you, or do you want me to pull it up on your website so people can see?
Yeah, I have a whole collection.
Well, I have the Gen 1 version of the AR-15 stock. Now, would you like to talk about the new Gen 2?
Yeah.
Do you have coming out? Yes.
That'd be great.
Max, you want to bring up that PDF?
Yes. Let me do.
And I will say from personal experience, everybody, that these stocks are very durable, very well built. I've had this one for 2 years, and I absolutely love it. This one's actually on the 224 Valkyrie that we use for my son.
Yeah,
you brought up 224 Valkyrie, and there's a big debate going on in chat about that caliber, and I shall not go there. Okay, we have the stock up here. This is the PDF.
Great. So just like Derek was showing up right there, our EX AR stock is actually our #1 selling SKU, that one right there. And that is the previous generation. I have it here as well. Derek, I don't know how good my lighting is, but the previous version, again, top selling SKU for us, both direct to consumers through our distribution channel, but also through OEM. And a lot of OEMs have chosen this stock because a price point, we have a great price point. It's made in the US. We're able to deliver, which is always a good thing. Another thing that's we've done a little different on our stock is the rear recoil pad. So other manufacturers have kind of stripped off that recoil pad in an effort to save weight, cost, all that kind of stuff. But we added that extra heavy duty recoil pad, which has got this kind of hexagonal pattern cut into or molded into the recoil pad. And it just does really well on those heavier recoil platforms. So your 308 platforms on up. We've shot this on single shot, 50 cals, and no problems with durability, but a lot more comfortable to shoot. One manufacturer found that with our stock, with the durability on their 458 SOCOMs, other competitor stocks would last about a week in their test room. Ours lasted a year. And it finally started breaking after a year. So the durability on it is super high. And we actually put an oversized adjustment pin. You can see here. When you drop a lot of those heavier rifle platforms, the first place that a lot of times the stocks will break is in the pin assembly. So we spent a lot of time in extra engineering to make sure that we built up that area of the stock really to be really super durable. So, but over the last 2 years that the stock's been out and doing really well for us, we wore out the mold, especially in 2020. We ran so many of these that we literally wore out the injection mold, the steel that would make this stock. So it started having some issues where it wasn't as efficient to manufacture it, and it was getting some what's called flash or extra plastic that was starting to show up in a lot of areas. So the time to trim that flash off was taking too much time. So about 10 weeks ago, we ran about 10 weeks worth of inventory, and basically we wanted to redo the mold. So At that point, we thought we might as well freshen up the look a little bit and streamline a little bit so it matched lines of more rifle platforms. People felt that these lines here were a little busy compared to some of the other stocks that were out there. So for 2021, and it actually just started shipping today, is our new version. So basically, we kept that same recoil pad in the back. So a lot of people love that recoil pad. We kept the same durable pin assembly, but what we did is we added just basically smoothed out the cheek piece. So you got rid of those lines, and we also got rid of the lines that were down here by the built-in sling swivel stud. So same price point for 2021, and same quality, made here in Idaho, and we're really excited about this new look.
And what is the price point on them?
Price point $49.99. You're going to find that again online at different retailers for different prices, but $49.99 is the MSRP on that. And then of course we have dealer price levels, distributor pricing, a lot of different discounts available for our distribution channel. But we're really excited about that. The feedback just continues to be phenomenal. If you look on our website, every comment on it is positive. It's a mil-spec stock. We don't do commercial on this one. On our next version, we'll probably come out with a commercial stock version, but right now this is just a mil-spec stock, which is 90% of our customers anyway. So, any questions on that one?
So actually, is it only for carbine size tubes, or does it work with the standard with the larger rifle size tubes as well?
It's just the mil-spec.
Okay.
So it'll work with different lengths. It's built for multi-position, so super easy to adjust.
Cool. And there was actually one question. I have a black one, and I like how it has no sharp corners and no poor molding flashing anywhere. Very smooth. But I want the lady to have this model too, just in pink. Maybe in the future.
Right now, we offer the FDE and gray. If you order it through Optics Planet, they have a custom gray color there, and then the orange, which is usually sell the orange to for less lethal launchers or training ARs, things like that. Or if you're a Florida Gator fan or Boise State fan, maybe you want that orange stock. But right now, no pink. But nice thing about our business is, I didn't go into some of our other businesses that we have here in this same facility, but we also are the largest camo dipper or camo processor in Idaho. And we have a huge Cerakote walk-in oven that we do a lot of Cerakote business, and we do a lot of camo dipping or immersion graphics or hydro dipping or whatever. A lot of people call it different things. We always have the awesome option of customizing stuff for people if they want to spend the time to call us at the office. We can arrange for maybe some Muddy Girl camo or other pink camos if somebody really wants to switch it up and do some pink.
Cool. Drew, so there's your answer. He also had a question. Do you have future plans for a cheek riser pad as well?
I think with the cheek pad, or cheek riser, that's something that's on our engineering docket. We've just been really busy with a lot of other projects, but at this point, it's just in the design phase.
That's understandable with everything how the last year's been.
Yeah. So
I can contest that hydro dipping is amazing. I had it on the 22 stock I have. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once you start dipping things, it's hard to stop. As far as we do a lot of skulls, we do a lot of motorcycle parts, we do a lot of firearms, truck parts. You'll be surprised what walks through the door, from big gauge earring inserts to e-cigarettes. It never surprises what walks through the door. What people want to camouflage or put in other patterns. So
yeah, what's your number one selling pattern, you think?
As an Idaho company, Cryptic is often our number one selling pattern. We offer that on some of our items as a standard. Cryptic is often super popular. Kuyu patterns are popular as well. And then kind of nondescript, like Next G2, which is kind of an all-purpose pattern. We do a lot of that for waterfowl guns, things like that.
Sure.
And then American flag patterns. A lot of times American flags, obviously people want to deck it out and make it look as patriotic as possible. So American flags are a lot of times super popular for us. Carbon fiber is probably number 2 behind near cryptic. Carbon fiber is super popular with automotive and people trying to deck out, maybe a bench gun or something like that where they want to have carbon fiber with red under it or blue or whatever, trying to really race it out.
It's funny you mentioned cryptic because the chassis, the ACC chassis on the rifle that I'm going to rebuild into the 37XC project, I was actually thinking about sending out to be done in cryptic.
Yeah, it's a great pattern. They're good guys. They're right here local, so they're always innovating. They just came out with a new pattern called Obscura. So they have their standard cryptic that they introduced as part of the military pattern development program that they were trying to get product into, and then they just recently came up with Obscura, which is a kind of a hybrid between, a little more black, a little more fog look to it. So it's a strong, good pattern too.
Oh, I haven't even heard of that one yet. So
yeah,
it's nice to know.
So for 2021 too, Derek, we're also coming out with our new grip. A lot of people would always ask us, hey, do you have a grip that matches? It doesn't quite match my grip, or we love your rear stock so much. Can you come out with a grip? And, as people know, the accessory business is a crowded market.
You're right.
With powerhouses like Magpul and Mission First is out there, of course, and there's a lot of smaller specialty companies that people are die-hard advocates for. So it's a crowded market. And so people are always asking us, can you get into this part of the market and come out with something innovative and different? And our first pass is our new Ltg Grip. So it's basically a lightweight tactical grip. And the idea was to kind of go after that kind of that aggressive look that a lot of companies are doing a good job with the machined aluminum grips. And what we did is we decided to do that same style, that same aggressive look, but in a polymer. So nobody had really done, that skeletonized look, that aggressive look, but in a polymer. So as you're putting up there, that PDF shows is that Ltg Grip. And as of this week, this mold is at our molder, and we are excited to see it come to fruition. The nice thing about this grip is it's lightweight. Obviously, you're cutting out a lot of material, so you don't have that excess weight. That cutout material actually makes for super aggressive grip. So your hand is actually, and your fingertips are, passing into the inner kind of edges of that, and you can get a really firm grip on that. Another nice thing about making this similar design out of polymer is it doesn't transmit or conduct the heat or the cold. So a lot of times you pick up those aluminum grips after sitting on a bench here in Idaho that's, it's 105 out, and that aluminum grip's been sitting on your shooting bench. It's not a pleasant, thing to necessarily pick up. Or, the other day it was, 19 degrees out overnight, and one of these was sitting with the aluminum grip as a test in some of our cars. And, this grip we picked up right away, and it was super comfortable, and you were ready to go. Those aluminum grips, after sitting in the vehicle all night at, those low temperatures, not very comfortable to grab onto. So I don't know if you've experienced that here in Idaho as well, but.
I'm actually testing out a new grip from a local company over in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
That designed a vertical aluminum grip on my chassis for my PRS rifle.
Sure.
So I can get back with you on that one.
Yeah.
Let you know how that is.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to this grip. Honestly, I think it looks really cool. It's definitely different. And being made from the same material as your guys' stocks, I expect nothing but great things about it.
And another nice thing about it, Derek, too, is the price point. Made in the USA, it's at $17.99 MSRP.
Oh wow!
That's below a lot of the popular grips that are out there, but obviously well below the aluminum grips that are out there. So if you're looking for that look, and again trying to maximize your accessory dollars and trying to go for some of the features I just talked about with the heat and the cold and things like that, it's a great option for shooters, and it looks phenomenal on the AR9 or a AR pistol, that you're trying to make super racy and super lightweight. It makes for a great addition to those.
I do like that you guys went with the Tang model instead of doing the straight flat cut across. I do like that. I'm more of a big fan of those style grips than I am the ones that cut across.
It looks sharp, when you combine the two with, I don't know if you can see that with my black shirt, but it looks great. Let me move it over a little bit here. It looks great on that platform, with our stock and the grip. It just makes for a nice looking rifle with great performance. So.
Now I got to build another AR-15. And now I got to build that 6-ARC and put this furniture on it.
Yeah. So definitely can get those samples out to you too, Derek. I'd love to have you do a formal review on those.
Of course.
On other things for us as well. So.
Now I do have one question for you. Do you guys see yourself doing a like a free floating handguard at a Palmer in the future or anything?
That's on the docket. We might first roll out with aluminum, just because the size of the mold. People don't realize a lot of times, and this is just a little insight into our business, is the amount of investment that comes up when you build a mold. Let's say like with our 1022 stocks, like these here, this full size mold.
Max, can you put it up on full screen?
You what?
I was trying to have them bring it up on full screen so everybody could see it.
So this stock, you have the rear stock portion, you have the main grip portion, you have the barrel insert, and a lot of different things on this mold right here. And by the time you get done with engineering and everything, you're probably talking about over a $200,000 investment.
I gotcha. Okay.
For something like this. So a forend, like this grip, by the time you get it out there, you're talking, $80,000 by the time you get engineering and everything involved. So you have to pretty much know that there's going to be a market for a product before you bring it out. So it's one of the things that keeps people from rushing into the accessory business. When you make things out of polymer, the nice thing about machining things out of aluminum, you can test the market a little bit more without having to go into the full production of a polymer part. So does that make sense?
No, it does make sense.
Yeah. So we just have to make sure that there's going to be a market for us, and make sure our R&D budget and our development budget can handle, something as large as maybe a new forend, where you're probably talking another 80 to 100,000 to get that built. So.
Oh, completely understandable.
Yeah. So.
No, are you guys still going to be doing the 22 barrels for 2021? Now, are you guys going to be bringing out a Magnum caliper barrel? Because I had some people ask me about that last year.
We actually had a couple guys ask this week. There again, we just got to keep monitoring the demand.
Okay.
The barrel supply channel is definitely tight. So we don't necessarily have a lot of equipment to do the barrel blanks and stuff like that. So the demand on that is pretty high, just industry wide. So the lead times on our barrels are longer. So for us to invest a lot of money into it right now, it's not the best direction, but we definitely hear the customers on that as we consider new options. But the barrels, surprisingly a good category for us. You mentioned Taxol and Valcorsa do great jobs. We don't approach their level of volume or business, but there again, they just go hand in hand. It was a natural progression for us to go from stocks to the addition of the barrels. And we have both, like you're showing here, we have both the takedown barrels and the full length, 1022 barrels as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're going to continue to try to do projects with other companies. I don't know if many people know that we worked extensively with Mossberg on the development of the 590M.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch it with the firearms on the live stream.
Okay. So we worked. Hold on one second.
We can bring up whatever you want.
Yeah.
But for some, YouTube is, if they see a firearm on a live stream now, they just shut the stream down.
that's the world we're living in right now. So
Yeah, unfortunately. Sorry, I do apologize about that.
yeah, we want to keep the information flowing. So we worked with Mossberg on the development of the 590M platform, which is their magazine-fed shotgun, because we have our Sidewinder system, which is basically a conversion kit for Mossberg shotguns.
Okay.
We can convert any Mossberg pump-action shotgun to be magazine-fed, and we developed that system many years ago. But we worked exclusively with Mossberg on development of their 590M, which utilizes the 590M magazines that you see here. We actually worked with inventors and art designers to maximize and perfect the double stack design. It's the only patented double stack magazine on the market, and that's exclusively through Mossberg. So, and that's available with 5-round magazines, 10-round magazines, 15-round magazines like this, and then also 20-round magazines. So we manufacture all that here, and Mossberg does a great job on manufacturing the shotgun. And we'll try to continue to partner with not only Mossberg, but also other manufacturers. Like I mentioned, OEM manufacturers where we sell them stocks, we design products for them. So that's another facet of our business as well. So.
Now, question for you. Did you guys change the forend on your guys' shotgun stocks?
We did.
Because it looked like it was a little bit slimmer than the original one that you guys sent me a couple of years ago.
Yeah. As a smaller company, we are able to, stay somewhat, responsive to customers. And when we rolled out that first shotgun stock set or EX stock set, we had a little bit of a thicker forend on there. And we've since, got a lot of feedback from law enforcement because we do a lot of business with law enforcement. You showed the orange stock. If you scroll down a little bit, Derek. So professional users, a lot of different size users that are out there with LE stocks. And we just got a lot of, strong feedback saying we love the durability. We love that removable nose piece where you can add a flashlight, like our flashlight. It's just a little big. So, and what do we mean by a little bit? It's just for smaller statured shooters, or even, if you want a really good firm grip, it was just a little bit large. So we took the time here again. We had, spent all that money on the mold, but we were able to go in that same mold, spend some money to upgrade it and slim it down quite a bit. So it's a lot more comfortable for a wider, variety of shotgun shooters. So, and you'll see on the left there, that's our forend light, and that slips on there, or you can slip on, a Surefire light or a Streamlight light or an Enforce. They all fit on that little piece of rail, really nice. And we're not big fans here of exposed rails on Mossberg or on shotgun forends, so that's why we have that cap, so you can slip that cap back over the top and not cheese grade your hand all the time. So.
Now, are you guys going to be doing the Gen 2 stocks on the shotgun platform also, or just on the AR?
So, as a manufacturer, we want to try to maximize our efficiency for the parts that we're manufacturing and utilizing them the best we can. And so that's a good observation. We utilize that same stock on not only that shotgun stock set, but we also use it in our TK22, which is one of our takedown 1022 stocks. So yes, okay. It will appear on all those platforms.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to think what else we could bring up here. I can vouch for a lot of the shotgun stuff. The quality's there. If you guys all go look on my video, I did one where I actually threw the shotgun into a snowbank and threw it around in the video to show durability and banging the stock off my porch and everything.
Well, great. Yeah. 20. We were talking earlier. 2020 was a phenomenal year for us. It doubled our business. We're looking forward to growth in 2021. We're seeing the same patterns now, as far as purchasing patterns. We experienced last year, just phenomenal sales as people purchased, pretty much anything that we had available. Everybody was hungry for those accessories. They were hungry for what was available, so they could, deck out that home defense shotgun or that 1022 or that AR. And there was a handful of items, mainly our Sidewinder line, that we were planning on discontinuing at the end of 2021. Because we had inventory enough forecasted that was going to carry us through the end of 2021, and then we were going to discontinue it so that we could pursue other opportunities like the grip. We were allowed to, because of last year's budget, we were able to get this out earlier than we anticipated. But with that large influx of business, it cleared out a lot of inventory that we had planned to last through the end of 2021. So that's why we are discontinuing our Sidewinder line. Even though it sold, extremely well throughout the years, and especially last year, we just don't want to put the resources towards continuing that line, and we want to put resources towards, future product development. Like the grip, we have another grip, a second generation of this already engineered and designed and sampled. We're just waiting for the budget to do that new grip. So it'll be basically the big brother to this grip, but we're excited to see that grip out probably hopefully at the end of the year. But having inventory removed, inventory volumes depleted, it frees up some inventory dollars to purchase not only items like this grip, but gives us more budget to do new projects. So we're excited about that for 2021.
Okay. Know that SHOT Show got canceled this year and everything. DFirst and the Great American Outdoor Show got canceled, and TriggerCon 2020 got canceled. Do you think TriggerCon 2021 is going to get canceled this year?
I keep monitoring the site. It's obviously Rainier's team they're going to be making the decision on that, I think. But we'd love to get back there. We took, I believe, last year off, so we'd love to get back up there and participate, because it's a great event for the Northwest. We don't have a lot of these events like that up in the Northwest, so it was gaining a lot of momentum. So I hope to see it, keep going. We had a lot of good interaction with our customer base. We had a lot of good interaction with all the different manufacturers there, and everybody, we repeated the same thing, that this was a well-needed, event for the Northwest. So
yeah, it was a good time back in 2019. Unfortunately, no, 2018. I didn't get to go 2019.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to it last year, but it getting canceled and everything, and then SHOT Show getting canceled this year. This is why we're putting on the virtual show. That way people can still see products that small businesses and other companies are going to coming out with, something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm. We appreciate the support we get from the customers too. As a smaller business, a lot of people, we're accessible. They can call and talk to me. They can call and talk to anybody on our staff. The co-founder that designed a lot of these products. If people call in, they have a issue with installing a grip on a Mossberg or whatever, sometimes he jumps on the phone and takes calls. So that's one of the benefits working with a smaller company. One, we can usually get product out the door quick, and we're very accessible and friendly, and we tend to pay attention to the customer feedback, even though a lot of times we can't come out with something right away because it takes a long time to develop, but we always appreciate the feedback we get from everybody on the product.
Very cool. So I apologize. Actually, my camera, for some reason, it was fine for like 4 or 5 days running it with the constant on battery, but for some reason it just started overheating today. So I was swapping back and forth and seeing what's up with that. And it is possible it's because I just had the camera out in 30-degree weather and now it's plugged in. So it's weird. So I apologize I missed the question. So on the grip, I posted it in a private chat, but I'm not sure if Derek mentioned, if Derek saw that. I do hope he saw the message, and I think he saw the message about waving firearms on a live.
Yeah,
as soon as he picked up the gun, I'm like, on this grip. So I mean, you're cutting out a lot of the material. How do you maintain the rigidity in the grip?
The glass reinforced polymer is super rigid. It's like Derek said, it's the same material we use across the board for all of our items, and rigidity is not an issue with this particular design. If you start removing that glass and go with alternate polymers, flexibility can start to definitely happen, especially in the heat. But this this particular material is, well proven, DuPont material that's super tough. So
I mean, how would it compare to something like a rigidity-wise versus similar grips which are made out of aluminum?
Obviously, alternate materials. We talked about the transfer of heat and cold.
Yes.
Which is a major difference. As far as the rigidity of aluminum versus, I'd have to look at it as far as under a stress test, but that's not something we really explored. But this material, you're not going to be able to feel it in your hand flex or anything. I don't care how.
Okay.
Derek looks like a strong big guy. You're not gonna crush it. You're not gonna feel it flex, in your hand at all.
Yeah. So. And it's so right now I was just out shooting in 30-degree weather, and I was handling something else made out of polymer, and you almost felt it start to crack. I mean, how does your polymer, how does it react? I mean, what's the temperature range, I guess, that you could use it in?
I'd have to look up the DuPont material range, but it's going to last in any temperatures you're out shooting in comfortably. Whether you're in
normal
Minnesota,
people.
Whether you're in Minnesota or wherever you're at in the country, or over in Eastern Bloc somewhere, it's going to handle this material is going to handle those temperature drops. So.
And the reason why you bring it up is because you have a couple of manufacturers, I believe is the manufacturer who actually no, there's some FNs and there's some Walthers that if they got warm, you felt the grip start melting in your hand.
Really?
And there are pictures of this. Yes.
And there's different. This is a well-proven material. Like I said, we use it across the board for all of our platforms. Including our our rear stock. And like I said, under extreme amount of pressure from a lot of different rounds, it always performs well. We've never had any issues with material failure due to temperature. And I've never really seen anything, sent back or anything. That's interesting.
So that is the grip panel of an FNX Tactical.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, material selections, is a big part of what we do as well. We bring in engineers from material manufacturers and say, what are you recommending for this? And there's, for example, DuPont has a great engineer that we work with. His specific job role is the firearm industry. So he knows materials that you should avoid and materials to pursue that are, well proven throughout many years of use by a lot of different manufacturers. So we don't just, pick a material willy-nilly. We seek out experts, especially from somebody like DuPont that's, a plastics expert. And that's who helps guide us. And then our molders, they've worked with materials for many years as well, and they're very familiar with what works and doesn't flow properly and may give you weak spots. And there's a lot of things that go into a design like that. Even the mold design, how the material flows through the mold will determine, if you have air pockets or potential places where you'll have stress risers in the shape of the stock. And if there's real sharp angles, that can increase the amount of stress on a certain spot and result in, breakage. So when you're designing the stock, you got to think about, all those different factors for sure.
Very cool. All right. So
now I do have something I want to show Gary.
Yeah.
Now I got a blast from the past for you.
Okay.
I found it. I couldn't find the stock, but I found the foregrip. I still have one of the original Gen 1 Knox stocks.
Yes. So that's a Blackhawk version right there. Yep.
Yes.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. But so that's the one I had on the shotgun before I put your guys' stuff on it.
Yeah. And even right there is a good example, Derek. If you look on the side of it, when that first came out, again, listening to customers, see there's kind of a cut in the back, a little bit of a a loop on it by where it says Blackhawk. I think there's a little cutout.
Yep.
When that was first on the side, if you hold it from the side.
Oh yes.
Right there in the back, there's kind of where it drops down a little bit in the back above where it says Blackhawk.
Mm-hmm.
that originally wasn't there. And, with the popularity of the side saddle and the shell carriers and things like that, originally that wasn't there. So that was a boo that, you don't catch those things a lot of times. And then you start getting calls like, hey, this hits my shell carrier. What are you guys doing about that? Well, if you just take a Dremel, you Dremel it out. But we were able to, update the mold, and that solved that. So the design process isn't always perfect, but, we try to respond, even at Blackhawk, we try to respond and make it even better, so.
Very cool. So there's actually one question while you were talking about it I wanted to ask. It was always on top of my mind, but I'm not a super duper shotgun guy. The Mossberg, the 590 with the 20 round mag, is it just the magazine, or can you use the tube plus the mag?
So with the 590M, you can actually make that gun, as short as you want functionally, because there's nothing in the tube. It's completely empty. It feeds directly and most efficiently straight up into the receiver. You can drop single rounds in at a time if you wanted to. If you wanted to do, a reload of some kind where you're switching from buckshot to slugs or something like that, and the mag was still in there, you can actually drop a single shell in there, but the tube is empty. Yeah.
So it'd be cool, like if you have both the tube and the magazine, that would be pretty interesting. But no, thank you for answering that, because I'm like, I don't know. It's like you're like, I didn't think that the magazine can fit that many shells.
And it's 20 rounds is the largest magazine, and people say, oh, that's too big, or it must be too darn heavy or whatever. But it sits in the middle of the shotgun, so it makes for a pretty well balanced platform. I tell you what, we literally shot thousands and thousands of rounds of 2 3/4 ounce and a quarter slugs. And I don't know how many people have shot ounce and a quarter slugs, but when you go from an ounce slug to an ounce and a quarter slug, it's a significant difference. And we had trouble finding testers, because we literally would go out and shoot, just boxes and boxes and boxes when we were in development. And people would be super gung-ho. You get them out there, they're excited to do a little testing and shoot some free ammo, and they'd make it through one 20-round magazine, and they'd turn around and look at you like, I got to keep going? Yep, you got to keep going. We each do about 400 or 500 rounds, and we're out here. And it was a workout. It's a workout when you shoot those heavy, heavy rounds. But that's what we needed to do, make sure that, the system worked properly and the magazine held together and all of the above. So.
Very cool. All right, so
actually, Drew's got a really good question he just posted. We should ask. All
right, so let's go to the last question, and then we'll go back up and address some of the comments. So, does that large mag have one single mainspring or dual springs, one in each side, to aid shell sharing during the loading cycles?
No, it's one spring. It's one large, super heavy duty spring. There's not the 2 spring design, and there's just too many moving parts when you start doing something like that. The follower is specifically designed to accommodate and transition from when it's double stacked all the way up into the top of the magazine here, up into the chimneys of the mag tower. So that follower basically is accommodating when it's either double stacked or when it transitions to single stack for those last rounds. But yeah, one big heavy duty spring. So, and spring tension, with the magazine design is obviously crucial. And we spent a lot of time, a lot of prototyping with a lot of different spring manufacturers to determine the best spring size, the best bending angles and things like that. It's a science. Springs are a science for sure.
Very cool. All right, so I'm going to go back all the way to the top and make sure we covered all the questions and comments. Can you interview companies that build 9mm and 45 ACP mods for the AR-15 platform? Yes. Garrett, did you have anything for PCCs, or I guess your stocks work for PCCs, obviously? And I would say that the recoil pad would be really beneficial on them, because what most people don't realize is a 9mm or like a 40 upper on an AR-15 is going to recoil harder than the 223 because it's direct blowback.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that buy our stock because of the recoil pad, like I said. And it's, if you have shoulder problems, it doesn't need to be a macho thing. You're shooting all day in a t-shirt on the range. with 223 or 5.56 or whatever you're out there shooting, that can, after a while, it can be painful for someone that has shoulder problems, or even somebody that's, will be irritated. The Recoil Pad is a great option. Our Recoil Pad too, people say, oh, it does add that much weight. It does add weight, it's rubber, but it does, with 2 screws, it comes right off, and it's just as lightweight as Magpul, Mission First, or other people. And there's extra grip underneath on the back when you take that recoil pad off. So it doesn't need to be something you use all the time. If you like the design, if you like that extra heavy duty adjustment pin, that's an option for people too. So.
And I'm sure it's also a really attractive option for people who are shooting your heavier recoiling calibers, such as, let's say, 6.5 Grendel, even the newer 6 Arc. 224 Valkyrie was a little bit on the lighter side, but like 6.8 SBC. And obviously all of the straight vault cartridges now we see, such as 350 Legend. And shooting those, I think people underestimate how much recoil there is out of those cartridges in an AR platform.
Mm-hmm. And there's a gentleman, like I said, that dods the AR 500.
Yes.
Platform, and he uses it. He uses our stock exclusively on that platform, and that's a great, low volume but high quality rifle he builds. And then, like I said, the 458 SOCOM, and all the way up to that single shot 50 cal that we shot it with, it performs. So,
and we should have either Matt Foster, who represents Bighorn, or Bighorn come on, and they will talk about the AR 500 Max. And apparently, I'm supposed to get one fairly soon. Matt, make it happen.
Well, I can contest having the nice thick recoil pad on their stocks, especially on the 12 gauge system, is really nice. I can actually go shoot 10 or 15 rounds out of it, and it doesn't bother my shoulder. And I have 2 tears in my shoulder. So I can contest that the recoil pad does make a big difference in the way you guys designed it with the nice cushion and everything. So
my Valkyrie is taking up space on the lower that I would like to throw a 45 on. Well, you probably want a different lower for a 45 ACP, although I'm not sure too many companies that are making 45s. But no, Valkyrie is a cool caliber, but there were some issues. All right. They were talking about Valkyrie load development, whole separate topic. Okay, so this is actually, Drew, thank you for the reminder. How's my Element Optic scope doing for when I win it, like in 4 days? So we are running almost over our Element Optics Helix Front Focal Plane Optic giveaway. And I did get mine. It's mounted on that Mossberg that I posted a picture of. And it is a really nice scope, really good image quality on it. And one of you is going to get one of your own. So there will be a link in the description. Make sure you enter the contest, share it, get more entries. And if you are a Squad supporting member, there is a code for an additional 100 entries into the giveaway. And that is going to be at the end. That's going to end January 31st. And we'll probably come on a live stream and draw the winner for that. And hopefully we'll possibly get Element to come on and discuss their optics. But honestly, I can tell you guys, so I played with it. I got mine a couple of weeks ago, played with it indoors. It was really good. Mounted it to the gun, took it outside, and it definitely hit above its price tag. So you will like it. All right. Kimber can get bent. We're okay. This is going back to our conversation about that. Brian, thank you for joining. Wow, so there's a bunch of people from Idaho here. So Joe Morgan,
great,
and Brian are both in Idaho.
I believe Drew is too.
And Drew too? Wow. Okay.
Idaho's actually, one of the largest or most volume of companies in the industry are located in Idaho. It's pretty interesting to see the amount of businesses here in Idaho, even compared to Texas, and either compared to other people, or other states. It's a good state for manufacturers in our industry. So
I'm in the Nampa Caldwell area, which tells me absolutely nothing.
I'm in Nampa, and then Caldwell's the next city right over. So that's great to see some local people. So
Yeah, and he's actually an area lived there for almost 32 years. All right. Okay, we've covered the pink. Okay, so then we talked about the hydro dipping. I had 4 guns I liked, but I sold to unprepared first-time relatives last year when the Wu Flu riot started. And now we're all paying the price for the higher prices on firearms. Okay, so apparently Drew has experience with it. Injection molding high glass content wears the daylights out of the tool.
It does. So when you do put the glass in there, it does eat the mold. It's abrasive. It definitely wears on the mold, and that's what we experience with our stock is over time. You do have to maintain the mold and make sure that
So how many stocks can you produce out of a single mold before it starts getting bad?
That mold there is probably 100,000 before we saw the issues that we saw. So.
Wow. So I guess if somebody really wanted one of the first generation, find an earlier one than your later production ones.
No, and what that is, it's called flash. So basically, where the mold comes together, the seams of the mold, and then it comes apart. Where it comes together, basically plastic kind of seeps out, through those seams and creates little lines or flash. It's called. And we basically just take and trim that right off. It's a pretty common occurrence for molds to flash in different spots. So.
I'd rather buy from local company than Magpul. Their stuff is too overdone and is tacky. I want stock stuff on my gun because of the weather here. There we go.
Great.
Okay. All right. So this was actually a comment about this. So about not flashing firearms on live streams. The main issue is, and this was only an issue after the New Zealand shooting, you had a lot of people who basically wanted to be copycats and they want attention. And what better, they live streamed them doing really, really, really bad things. And what most people don't realize is that YouTube and Google, well, YouTube is Google and Facebook, they do have algorithms in place where if you put a picture of a firearm or you're handling something, let's say you're handling a glass, they'll know exactly what that item is. So one of the things that they started deciding to do is if they see somebody handling a firearm on air, they will automatically shut down the stream. And we don't necessarily know what other repercussions are there, but that is why on live streams, don't touch firearms. But pictures of it seem to be just completely fine. And I get it. I get it, because last thing they would want to do is be responsible for one more idiot going to do a shooting while trying to get attention. And I think there's like a couple of them. It was just that last one was the proverbial straw. Okay. So once again, Drew is really into the pink. As we said, Drew really wants pink.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually a question about the grips, and one that I've had on my mind as well. I have a skeletonized aluminum grip like this one. How do you improve the grip with slick, wet hands? And I can speak to this as well because I know the grip that Carchark is talking about. I've actually handled it, and that was actually one of the comments that I had with it, along with, to me, it seemed it was way too narrow. So how do you handle the too slick, and how's the width on your grip?
With our engineering, we utilize, parts printers or prototype printers. And so we actually printed off some early, once the design was initially conceptualized and ready to go to the next phase. And it did feel too skinny. So we increased it, and then it felt too fat, so then we told the engineer, reduce it by 30%, so that's how we eventually got to the grip size that we have now. So it's a great feel to it. We felt the size was the right size for the majority of hands that are going to grab onto it. And we try to deploy that parts printer as much as we can, because it does save us a lot of time and heartache. And we can take samples around and have people try different sizes out or different shapes out and go, that doesn't quite feel right, or that doesn't quite look right. So those are certainly a valuable tool for a small company like us to save time in the development process. All of our product is textured. So if you look at it under a microscope or whatever, we select different texturing patterns. And there's basically, in the world of making molds, you can select how heavy you want that texture to be. Do you want to be super aggressive like a dimpling, or do you want it to be super smooth where it just kind of hides some of the defects? And a lot of times we're kind of in the middle. So this grip actually has a surface that's been textured, so it doesn't give you that super slick feel. Either sweaty hands or rain or whatever, it doesn't have that super slick feel that you would get maybe from an smooth aluminum surface. So.
And it looks like you have texturing on the back, or like I don't think I saw pictures of.
Yeah, the textures are all on the surfaces that would come in contact with your hand.
Okay.
Internal surfaces are all smooth, so the mold slips out, and able to make it a lot quicker. But the external surfaces all have that texture. And again, we select textures so all the different products match and they go visually together, but also they give you enough texture that it's not overly grippy or too smooth. So we just kind of try to go in the middle. So
yeah, why don't you guys go with a curve instead of like a vertical?
Just it kind of goes along. I'm not going to pick up my shotgun, but it goes along with similar angles we've been using for many years. And it's maybe the next version might be a little more vertical, or have another option where it's a little more vertical. But we just went with this one. It's more of a general, trying to meet that common market that we're trying to go after. So
I gotcha.
And one of the things actually I do see, like, so from the side profile, you do see it looks like there are ribs on the back, and also on the side. So Karchuk, I think that would provide meaningfully more contact area than just that aluminum grip. And like I said, I picked it up. I love the way it looks, but it was like my hands are just kind of like slipping off of it. And like if you're shooting in the summertime or like in winter, well, because it's metal, it would be too cold. But I do like a nice aggressive texture, and this I think would be a nice mix of in between.
And like I said, the skeletonization of it, the pads of your finger, the meat of your palm, it kind of naturally kind of forms into the different skeletonized compartments, so to speak. So it does help with that grip.
So, I mean, roughly how much weight does this grip save you over a traditional grip? And I guess what is this weight? Because I don't see it on here. Aha.
It's that's about a 20% cut in weight from your traditional, A2 grip. A2 grips are pretty. They're not a lot of material in those grips, anyways.
Yeah,
so you're gonna save a significant amount of weight over, let's say, rubber coated grips or Hogue grips or a lot of other platforms out there that are popular.
Okay.
But A2s are.
And I'm generally not a fan of Hogue grips. I don't know. I can see them for pistols, but on an AR, it's like there's not a lot of recoil there anyway for the pistol grip, and just the rubber on that. I mean, it makes it cushy, but it makes it even slippier in summertime. Like if your hands are sweating, it's like you want just like nice, good texture on there. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. All right.
Any more questions about design processes or the business or anything else we can answer from that perspective or?
So actually, I'm a big fan of Precision 22s. So can you unged barrels? What's the process? Is it all in-house, or tell us more?
We actually we don't make them in-house. They are built to our specifications by actually Primary Weapons does
a lot
of our machining. So obviously they do a great job on their barrels and their receivers and their complete rifles. So we partnered with them as an Idaho business. They're in Boise, and it's 20 minutes from us. So they know a thing or two about barrels as well. So it does make for a good partnership on those.
And these are 920 profile. Awesome.
Yeah, they're very good barrels.
Oh, and these are all bench chambers, huh? So yes. These are pretty much match grade barrels, aren't they?
They are high grade barrels. So and like with, as with the Precision 22, I've actually had a couple questions this week about our barrels and performance, and how do I make my 22 perform better? And 22s are interesting, animals as far as once you get all your pieces and parts put together, you really need to go through and test the ammo that's best going to work with your particular rifle platform, with your particular grip, your particular trigger. It's sometimes the cheaper stuff runs better, and sometimes the expensive stuff is the best option. And then it comes down to also cleanliness. I mean, they run so dirty that we are constantly reminding people to, maintain their 22s to, a good high standard if you're really trying to make it a precision firearm. And, most people are not at that level when it comes to their 22 use. So the barrels are a great option for people that are trying to upgrade, trying to, make a little bit better rifle for their family, a little better rifle for, go out and shooting a little bit more accurate targets and stuff. So it's a good rifle platform for sure. And we cut the weight down, which is great for a lot of different shooters, for youth shooters, for female shooters, and for those that are, carrying it around a little bit for maybe squirrel hunting or other varmint use or whatever. It cuts that weight down, but still gives you a good solid steel barrel rather than a glued in or pounded in insert. So you still end up with a solid steel barrel, but you have the weight cut down.
Very cool. Yeah. And yes, over 1022, so it has the one place on the bottom. Some of the new custom shop ones have the second locking nut on top. Very cool.
Well, we have it with without the rail. The rail is an option that a lot of people with the takedowns especially is a little bit more popular of an option. You don't have to re-throw as much as you do with a rail that's mounted to the top of the takedown receiver. So some people like it for that, and you can also flip it around so it's more of like a scout configuration as well. It's interchangeable.
Cool.
Let's see, that I didn't know.
Very awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Well, you know what the next question is? When is it going to be with carbon fiber?
Well, we've actually talked with a few vendors on that as an option to kind of our next phase, and it might help us with our deliverables as well.
Yeah, because it's fascinating how much growth there is with 22s in particular. You can still relatively well find a brick at 22, but actually the market that's overlooked is your mid-level match grade 22 ammo. So like the ammo from SK and Lopwa, you can still actually find in most stores. I know it's foreign to a lot of people to pay $8 to $10 a box of 22, but it's better than, I guess, $50 a box for 9.
It can be a lethal platform too. My business partner, many years, his family business was a butcher, and his rifle of choice growing up, and all the butchers on their team all carried little bolt action 22s, little single shot 22s, and they dropped bull after bull after bull with the 22. And often, the ranchers would be out there with their kids watching and stuff, as they came out to the ranches to shoot those bulls, and they're like, "What do you got there?" "Oh, just my 22. You sure you don't need my deer rifle?" No. And boom, down it would go, one shot, and they'd look at each other like, "Deer? Maybe we should get our 22s away from the kids," kind of thing. So it can be a pretty nasty platform, in the right hands.
So, and any idea on availability? Any idea on the availability on the barrels coming back in?
We actually have a shipment coming in. We're hoping this next week. So,
Awesome.
and then another 90 days after that, the next batch will come in. So,
Fantastic. So,
Yeah.
and I guess with the barrel combined with one of your tactical type stocks, it's going to be a nice package for anybody who just wants to upgrade his 10-22. Then the only thing you'd need is your trigger and receiver.
Yep. I mean,
Trigger and receiver.
there's a lot of different companies out there right now too. Brunel's is offering, you know, stuff they've sourced through, I think, through Ruger, that they offer their own, you know, branded stuff. Of course, Taxol. Now, of course, you know, there's a lot of receivers that are out there being built, you know, so you don't necessarily just need to buy Ruger receivers if you can't find them. There's a lot of options out there for custom building.
Absolutely. And it's one of the things I started recently doing. So after I built the Azimuth 1022 build, started shooting 22s at 200 yards and 300 meters. And it's like, you can actually hit 8 out of 10 at steel at 330 yards. And the only thing that's holding you back at that point is going to be your scope and internal elevation adjustment. So I didn't have, a scope such as this, which is the Arkin SH4 Gen 2, which has enough internal elevation adjustment. But I had a more traditional hunting scope, and the rifle was shooting well, but I had to hold about 10 feet up in the air over the target.
Wow.
But it hit.
That's fun. That sounds like fun.
Absolutely. And it's nice, cheap fun. So
yeah.
Awesome. All right.
So the line's going to continue to grow. Like I said, you know, with some of the inventory, you know, being depleted and that's discontinuing some items, you know, we're going to focus again on our R&D. So, you know, people keep watching the website. We're going to continue to innovate and offer, you know, new products for 2021 and beyond. So we appreciate, again, as a small company, we appreciate all the customer feedback, appreciate all the consumer dedication to our brand and other small brands like us. So we're looking forward to 2021 for sure.
Fantastic. Awesome. So this is actually really, really cool. I mean, I learned a lot, got a better look at a lot of the products. And because like me, I've heard of Adaptive Tactical, but I never really gave you guys a really, really deep look. And then like Derek's like, hey, let's have Gary from Adaptive Tactical. I'm like, you know, let's do it. So it was good. And it's awesome to know that you have 1022 accessories. I do think that 2021 is going to be the year of rimfire, simply due to at least the first half of 2021, while there's still a backup of shortage of ammo. People are doing it, plus we have the growth of NRL 22. And even along the same lines, a lot of the accessories, such as the stock, you could use it on one of the bolt action guns that uses a modular chassis where you do have that nice recoil pad. And there's a couple of projects I have in mind where that could actually work well. But we'll chat on those.
Yeah, get one out to you for sure.
Derek, go ahead, buddy.
I guess just some.
I just put you on the spot. I know.
Yeah, I know.
You're looking at something.
I was looking to see if we had any other questions that were coming in, and I don't know. I'm looking forward to 2021. I think it's going to be a good year. I will be competing in some rimfire competitions down in Utah and Montana here. So, but never really thought about doing a semi-automatic. I might have to build one of those again.
Well, NRL 22, you have a good amount of people who are shooting 1022 based guns. And like I said, I mean, I have the Azimuth AZTP 22 that I built. Very smooth action, and even out of that tactical stock, it shot really well. I mean, it was sub 1 inch at 100 yards for rimfire with a variety of ammo. It was fun.
It did sound like fun.
And that was just a Sportster chamber, not even a Benz. So with a Benz, you could probably be able to squeeze out even more. But the problem is with a bench chamber is you should not be shooting bulk box ammo through those barrels.
No, Lapua or SK or.
And SK is an awesome value. So the SK yellow box, and we talked about it last week with, who was it?
Aaron.
Was it Aaron? Yes, with Aaron. We were talking about rimfires, and that SK yellow box, SK Standard Plus, is awesome value for it.
Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add, Gary?
No, I again appreciate the time you guys taken to do this. I know it's a good way to get the word out there, even in the absence of SHOT Show. So it's nice to have a platform to share some of our new products, and it's important for you guys to be out there, promoting the industry to consumers that are new and existing shooters. So thanks for your time, guys.
Oh,
and I will close it up with this comment for Gary. I'm glad Gary showed up for this. I had no idea they offered anything other than buttstocks. I see many items I want to play with now. Thank you for coming on the show today, Gary. And Drew, this is why we do this, to make you spend more money.
Gary, you're more than welcome to come on my channel anytime. You've been a big supporter of the channel since we first started. And any new products you want to come on and do in a live stream, just let me know and we can get you set up.
There you go.
Sure. Look forward to that. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, sir, for coming on. And anybody who's watching this on the replay, if you do have questions about anything that we discussed, and if it's either a question for Derek, myself, or for Gary, just leave it in the comments. So the live chat is going to be closed. Just leave it in the comments, and we'll make sure to see those, and we'll try to answer those or get it to Gary, and we'll make sure that your questions are addressed and answered to you. So there you go. So Gary, thank you again for coming on, and we'll see you soon.
Have a good rest of the week. Thanks.
Have a good one, sir.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think
wow.
Get a barrel in stock.
Say again?
I'm gonna have to get another barrel in stock. We build another 22 one of these days.
Yes. Well, you know what? The only problem with doing these live shows, it's like I want this or I want that,
Okay.
and it's like yet another project. And it's actually interesting. I mean, there's one of the live streams we did in the past. Somebody's like, "Well, if you want like an idea list of stuff to see," I'm like, "I would love it. I'll take a look at the list." But honestly, I think look, one of the biggest challenges of being a content creator, and I'm part of a lot of groups that are for content creators, is, well, there's a shortage of ideas for video topics. I'm like, I don't think we have an issue with shortage of video topics. It's rather an issue with the shortage of time and being capable of doing it. So, I mean, last year, I was trying to do one video per week. So that basically gives it, let's say, if you take 2 weeks off, that gives you the ability to do 50 videos per year. This year, I'm trying to do between 2 to 3 videos per week, and it's doable. But even still, I had my sheet here somewhere. I usually work right off of a spreadsheet. My Q1 and Q2 is completely filled out for projects and stuff, and that doesn't include any of the new stuff we've seen with SHOT Show 2021, or even the fact, let's say, for example, something like Rare Breed and that trigger that just came out. And there's at least 2 or 3 videos that now I want to put up to the front while people still have questions and while it's a hot topic. And I did just come back from the range. I will do that.
No, I agree. I still got a bunch of stuff that came at the end of 2020 that I'm now just getting caught up on, and now bringing up the 37XC project. It's like, God, it's like, okay, we got to fit this one in, but this one's going to be a more of a long-term project for people to watch on.
Yeah. So 1022s are fun. And I guess, look, part of it, we'll have to take a look at how things are progressing as well, and whether they are progressing. Let's say, for example, if there is, and I guess this is actually what my plan is. if we're going to see a prolonged shortage of ammunition, there will be more focus on rimfire and precision bolt guns, because yes, it costs more money, but you're going to be spending a lot less on ammo, because you're going to go out. I mean, you're going to shoot what, 3 boxes tops, and especially with the larger magnums, your shoulder is going to start falling off by that point.
If it's not built right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for example, you can't shoot 338 Lapua all day. Well, maybe you can because you're a big guy.
Well, I mean, with my 300 PRC, I mean, I shot 75 rounds in a match one day with that. So, I mean, but I've also got a 2-pound Mercury recoil reducing system and a control solutions brake. So it's like shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor or 60 Creedmoor. So it just really depends on how you have it set up.
Yeah. But even still, though, I mean, you're not going to go out there and spend 200 or 300 rounds of ammo, much like you would do with handguns or a 223 AR.
Yeah.
Because there you could really just do a bunch of that. But if we do have ammo starting to come back to reality, I will put more emphasis on newer stuff. Although, while I'm saying this, I'm just basically thinking, in Q1, I'm still going to have that little project, that little Soviet project that we were talking about in the chat. And then I still have 2 6mm arc barrels that are going to get built up.
Well, the Soviet project's going to work out really well for you for who we have coming on tomorrow. So...
No, not going to Russia and shooting King of 1 or 2 miles. I'm talking about the... using that trigger.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I was thinking of 300 PRC project.
No. So that's going to be a little bit later. No, so actually, I guess I can say it. So you guys know how much I love the AR platform, but I'm not a fan of 223. So there's going to be an AR yuppie gun in a very cool Soviet caliber, which uses a very cool new trigger. And that's all I'm saying. And the whole entire premise of the gun is it's going to be stupid loud and obnoxious. And stupid fast. So yeah, there you go. That's as much hints on it. But parts are apparently being sent out, so I'll put that together as quick as I can. Yeah, and that's not including any of the new stuff.
No, I got the 22 bolt action project right now I'm working on my channel, rebuilding and redoing the Ruger RPR Rimfire.
Okay.
So, hoping to hear back on a barrel next week.
Cool. All right. So and then so we're only gonna have, guys and gals, we're only gonna have one guest on today. Scheduling just didn't really work out super duper well. But tomorrow, go ahead, you announce it, since this is another one of your contacts.
We will be having Ian from Kelby Atlas Tactical coming on, and they've got some new stuff in the works that they're working on, and they're going to talk about their actions and everything. So I'm really excited about this because I do own 2. If you guys go watch my latest video I posted about a week and a half ago, it's the introduction to a couple projects that we're going to be working on my channel. I'll make the announcement right now. One is a PRS rifle, chambered in 6GT, and the other one is a 338 Lapua Magnum, actually improved, that I built to do 2 miles with. And now I'm going to go do the 37XC for this year. So it looks like we're going to be doing a lot of long-range shooting. And then if we do go out to the Bonneville Salt Flats, that is going to be an extended video for everybody. So it's going to be fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to working with Slav on his build. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and we are planning on, and we are planning on doing some collaborations, and it looks like my trip to Vegas is confirmed. I have another reason to be out there in the beginning of March and middle of April. So We're going to make that happen.
Yes,
we're
I'm still waiting to hear about my side of things on that one. So
yes. All right. And then we might possibly have an optics company. We might have Ride-On on tomorrow as well. So basically bring all your precision rifle questions you might have, save them up for tomorrow. John had a question. Did you have Darkstorm Industries on? And yes, we did. It was on Thursday, and they were the second guest on Thursday. Right? Yes.
Yes, day 3.
Who was right before them?
Yeah, I have to go back and look.
Oh my God. This is wow.
We had such a jam-packed 3 days last week.
No, this literally feels like SHOT Show because you can't remember stuff. But no, so they were on Thursday during the second half. And like I said, I will break those videos down separately, so you'll be able to more easily find them. But that was actually a really good segment we did with them, and then we discussed everything from legalities of other firearms, we phrase that non-NFA firearms, some of the new trends, and their fixed mag options and how those are going to be a little bit more attractive.
And the new DS25 system that they've designed and
yes,
bringing out later this year, which I am looking forward to getting one when I get my hands on one.
Yes, it was Anarchy Outdoors. It was Aaron that was on Thursday. There we go.
Yes.
Thank you,
yeah, because I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday they made the announcement for the Bergara new 22. So and we were talking about that.
Yeah. And so who was the one that you planned to have last week but wasn't available, so you're going to have him this week? So I had two companies. I had both Savage and Rock Island Arms said that they wanted to come on, but they didn't have a date that was completely planned. So we will have them. We will actually continue this probably. We'll try to do at least 1 or 2 days per week for the next couple of weeks of having companies come on so we can do these, so we can cover the new product introductions as we have. And based on my own calendar of trying to do 3 videos per week, one of them was going to be a live stream. So if we have a live stream with somebody coming on, this is perfect and it works really well. The other companies, we will have Matt Foster from FMJ Marketing, and we will be covering Bighorn Armory, Choate Stocks, Fix-It Sticks, and TNW. So Drew, we had Taurus and Ruger.
Yeah, Ruger was day 1, Taurus was day 2.
Correct. No, it was... No, Karchuk, you're actually off. It was Taurus and DSI, which was on Thursday. It was Anarchy Outdoors and Havoc Tactical Solutions on Wednesday. And on Tuesday, we had Tracked Optics and Ruger. Haha, I remember now. So we have those. Awesome. Oh, so that actually was a typo. So they're supposed to, DSI was supposed to be on Wednesday, but in the description I left it out, and they came on Thursday.
Yeah.
So that's why we had that.
Yeah, because Wednesday we were originally supposed to have 3 companies on, but we only had 2.
Yes. And actually, it's good that it's working out because, I mean, like we said, we just went over an hour with Gary from Adaptive. And this gives us plenty of time to address the questions and one of the things we have there. Now, what else we had? Oh, so actually, let me talk about. So, guys, Odyssey.com is built on Library, which it's a blockchain technology, and let me bring it up. So, actually, let's find Northwest. There you go. Awesome. So this is Derek's. So Odyssey.com, just at Northwest Gun Reviewers. And we'll bring it up. And actually what I'll do is I will actually just include a link. So all of your videos are automatically converged here as well.
Mhm.
And the goal is to have most of our content on here and more. So for instance, because it's decentralized, there is, so the two biggest issues with YouTube, I guess. Number one is a lot of the videos are just against the rules, meaning you can't have stuff with machine guns, you cannot promote manufacturers, and you cannot do things such as reloading ammunition. You cannot do videos such as showing you how to put an AR-15 together, things like that. Sometimes, most of the times, those videos get demonetized. Other times, you just might get a channel strike for it. A platform such as Odyssey, it's decentralized, so the only things that they would remove you from, or at least delist your videos, is if it is straight out violence, or if it is if you're reusing copyrighted material without permission. That's the only way. But otherwise, if you're conservative, or if you're just even talking about firearms or doing anything with that, that's completely fine on this platform. Number two, all of the videos are monetized, meaning anytime that you're watching any of the videos, so once you go in and you watch a video, because it's built on cryptocurrency, you'll be able to, well, obviously you can repost it, you can share it, and there's your likes, there's your dislikes. You can support the channel with library credits, which is basically a cryptocurrency. There you go. You got your first tip. So it's built on the Bitcoin blockchain, but it uses its own library credits. And anytime that you watch it, the content creator does get those library credits. And right now, each credit, one library credit is about 10 cents. So every view is monetized, and you are helping out the content creators. And it doesn't matter what the content is. So you have that, and then you have my channel.
Damn, you're at already 117 followers.
Yes. And like I said, one of the cool part is what we can do is, so we have our friend Alex, Steven, Mr. Dark Lord of Optics. We can repost a lot of our videos as well to kind of help support them and get them a little bit more publicity as well. And what I started doing is started adding a lot of the smaller videos, and going forward, some of the more questionable videos. So I have a video coming out with a rare breed trigger. It's only going to be on Odyssey. So I'm going to have a very short cut down version that's going to go on YouTube, but the full video is going to be only on Odyssey. I've never heard of DLive. But like I said, I've looked at a lot of them. I talked to the creators of Library and Odyssey. They love content. They're conservative. They believe in freedom of speech, and they love gun content. All I need to hear.
Yeah, the other platform I went on this week was UGE2. I believe that's what it was called. Double check. And it's a conservative platform. Very, so far from what I've seen, they're nice people. I've talked to them here and there, but I just uploaded everything over to mine over there. Also, yeah, UGE2.
Yep.
They're, once again, you're not going to get kicked off that platform unless you're showing harm or anything like that.
The only issue that you have with some of these is, even though the platform is about free speech, but it's about where they host the videos. And there was one or two of them, they were still hosting the videos on Amazon. And much like Parler, so I mean, Parler was all about free speech, but because their data and they're hosted on Amazon, they got screwed and they were deplatformed. And I believe Full 30 also uses Amazon for videos, or one of the either Gunstreamer or Full 30, one of those is hosting all the videos on Amazon. So it's like, yep, you got a good platform, but at any time you can get deplatformed.
Well, I didn't know anything about this platform until I watched Nut and Fancy's latest video.
Okay.
And he mentioned them, so. And it was easy for bringing stuff over for content creators. It didn't take as long as Odyssey did.
Yeah, so so with Odyssey, I mean, if you're a content creator and you do go on Odyssey, you have an option and they will automatically transfer over your channel, but there's a queue of like over 1,000 content creators who are trying to bring their channel over, and that's why you have such massive backlog. So I mean, that's why, well, yeah. One of my favorite websites.
It's not the truth.
Oh, since September, the interest went up over 20-fold. So it went from 4 to 98.
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of people going over to Odyssey, and there's nothing wrong with Odyssey. I honestly, downfall is I can't log into it at night where I work. So, but so far, everything seems to be really good on Odyssey.
So this is actually crazy. Look at this. The interest in Odyssey versus even Full 30. Yeah, 10 times.
Put Gunstreamer up there. I'm curious about that one. Because they've been on for a while, but they shut the platform down for a while there too. Oh God.
Yep, same thing. Pretty much non-existent. Versus Odyssey. So that was the past 12 months.
Well, proof's in the pudding right there.
Yeah, and this is just Odyssey, not including library.
I haven't done library yet.
So library is the main software that Odyssey. So Odyssey. Okay, so here's basically it. So you can go on library.tv, LBRY.tv. But it's the same thing, and all the content on Odyssey is on library. Except library, you can upload not just videos, but documents, anything you can upload here. Odyssey is supposed to be the replacement, kind of like as YouTube, and that's why they have a lot of the features that YouTube has. So it's a skin that basically filters out some of the library content for that. Now, they did announce that they are going to have playlists, live streaming, and they already have the ability to do pay-per-view content. So if there's, let's say, for example, if you want to do a tutorial or anything else like that, and you want people to be able to pay in order to see it, they do have the flexibility, and you can do that right now. So like I said, that's why I really like the platform quite a bit. And like I said, and you would see it under the purchased. And like I said, and they give you the content that you're searching for rather than what they think you want to see, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yep, the platforming is electronic cross-burning Google uses to silence logic and reason. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, unfortunately, it's like you can have your own platform, but really what matters is, do you actually own the actual servers? And honestly, my whole philosophy on this as a conservative, I truly believe that if YouTube or Facebook or Twitter doesn't want to have conservatives on there, it's their right as a business to do that. Now, the exception is if we're saying that because they are so big, that now they are a public square and they're a utility, then in that case I do agree that they need to be regulated to ensure free speech. However, if we as conservatives believe that businesses should be allowed to do what they want to do without having government interfering, then look, it's like it's and I guess a better example would be Twitter, because less people use Twitter. If you don't like Twitter or Twitter's rules, don't go on Twitter. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's as simple as that. And people can live without Twitter. I think it's a little bit more challenging with Facebook because you're more hooked in from the business sense. But this is why we have independent platforms. The only caveat is where you're hosting the content and where your data is actually stored. And this is why I'm not a huge fan of cloud content. So this is why I also own my own servers. And a lot of the stuff is backed up there. That's why you have your own website. That's why you have your own email list. That even if you do get deplatformed by somebody, you are going to be able to stay in touch with people. So this is actually interesting. So we had two people just come in and say they're public square. Yep. And that's the point that could be made. And this is great that this is coming from Facebook, because our prior days, I could not stream them to Facebook because I was one of the influencers and content creators who was prevented from participating in groups, and that pissed me off. Like I said, Twitter I can live without, but Facebook did make it tough. And I do think that Facebook, and to the greater extent YouTube, are a public square. And I do hope they're regulated in that regard. But the smaller platforms I really couldn't give a crap about. I could live without them. Even Instagram, because that's just looking at pretty pictures. But like I said, Facebook is the one that I still feel is needed. And even YouTube. But using Library and Odyssey is my way of getting away from that dependence. And so if you go on my website, if you go on slavguns.com, I'll have the videos embedded, and they are going to be to the Odyssey videos rather than YouTube. So there you go. And it's basically, you can see, so one of the differences, you have the tabs. So you have the following, which will give you all the videos from people you're following. And then different tabs. And one of the updates that's going to be happening is you'll be able to customize these. So you only get, let's say, for example, I was actually trying to get them to push for having a tab for just gun content. And they said, as we get more firearms content creators, and this is why I am on such a, in our own Discord group, I'm like, did you make your Odyssey account yet? Did you make your Odyssey account yet? But they're going to have the ability for people to customize and have their own. But like I said, you have really good content creators on here. The platform is growing by leaps and bounds, and great place. So if you haven't joined yet, there's a link in the description. Go join. You get some credits. I get some credits. And that is going to be where you find exclusive content going forward. Yep, that is where you're going to have that. And like I said, and once we have live streaming, so we've done tests on live streams, but once we have full live streaming available, we'll be live streaming to both platforms. Like I said, the only downside so far is because it is decentralized, and the video is stored on multiple servers, you do sometimes get buffering messages. And at the same time, you're not going to get 4K content. They're still recommending you upload in 720 or 1080. And all of my videos are uploaded in 4K. So I do have a separate one just for Odyssey that we're going to be doing that is going to be at a lower quality. So if you are watching this on a big screen, go on YouTube. But it's going to be a backup. So if, just in case anything happens to the YouTube channel, all of the content is going to be on there as well. But that is amazing. That is seriously amazing that let's say, so there's Full 30, there's Gunstreamer, what else? Which other ones were there?
Oh.
I think out of the gun ones, there's just Full 30 and Gunstreamer, right?
Get Zone or something like that. That was one that Scotch 30 or whatever he used to use. I don't know if he still does or not.
Yeah. Honestly, I expected a lot more. And then actually take a look at this. So like the demand in November for Gunstreamer and Full 30 was basically almost non-existent. Very interesting, but there you go. So there's somebody in South Dakota and Nevada which is looking for Full 30. Everywhere else it's Odyssey. BitChute is the other one. The problem with BitChute is, so it's another similar one. BitChute is the big one right now. Okay. So you can kind of see. But I do think over time, like I said, it's by most people that I'm talking to in that industry, Library and Odyssey, it's just a more elegant solution.
Yeah.
All right. So we've been on for over 2 hours. I think we're starting to beat some dead horses here. I am suggesting we wrap up for the day.
Sounds like a plan.
And then we will convene tomorrow, and we are going to have a good day tomorrow.
Yes.
Talking about precision rifles.
Yes. And little background, Kelby Atlas does have a background in F-class shooting and PRS. They have their own PRS shoot team. I believe they still have their own F-class team. So you guys will be able to ask any questions you guys want tomorrow or anything like that. And they do everything. They do their own stocks, barrels, actions, and they've been around since the 80s. So there's a lot of history and a lot of knowledge right there.
So there was one comment on Facebook.
Okay.
You have Rumble as well, and actually, duh. And you do have massive interest in Rumble. As basically, it almost came. Well, this is interesting. January to February. Almost every year at a certain point, there's like a massive jump in interest for Rumble. Crazy. But we did pick, so Rumble right now is very highly searched for. I did initially upload to Rumble. I did one upload, and immediately I had the system freak out. They sent me a copyright violation of me re-uploading a video of my own from YouTube. And it's a cool platform, and I think it gained a lot of notoriety in the conservative community. But from the technological perspective, it is half-baked still. From the content creator side, we're missing a lot of the features I was looking for. But the mere fact that the system was freaking out on a fail. So it was basically I started uploading a video and it uploaded, but then it didn't encode properly on their end, and then immediately I got a copyright strike. It just wasn't ready. I know a couple other content creators who do, and it works. From the other aspect of Rumble, what I'm not a fan of is from the monetization perspective. They basically, what they try to do is to take your videos and re-upload them on their own channel on YouTube. But otherwise, if you don't have an exclusive video, you're not going to get a lot of publicity on the platform, which is what I wasn't super duper a fan of. But it is something that, I mean, you see I have an account, but haven't really uploaded much to it. I tried, but it wasn't good, but I do hope in the future that they do some good with it. And we shall see.
Yeah,
Cool.
everything right now, guys, for content creator, especially gun tubers to be exact, everything right now is testing the waters on other stuff. So hopefully everything calms down here soon, but I don't really perceive that in the next 6 months. But what we're trying to tell you guys is you can find us on other platforms. We're not going anywhere. We're here. This is something that both me and Slav enjoy doing. And you guys are going to see collaborations between me and him and other guys. And hopefully we're all going to have a good year. That's
yeah. Absolutely. And like, and one thing I will say is make sure you subscribe. So oftentimes it's nice to see that we have if you go on one of our friends, so like Joe, I see him in Joe Morgan, who made the comment. I see him in a number of live streams that some of our friends do. And it's not really a surprise too much because, so one thing that people don't know is we have a private content creator group on Discord where we have about, what is it, like 16 to 20 firearms content creators a part of. About 8 of us are really active on there. So we do discuss, we do collaborate. This is why you'll see myself, Derek, Dark Lord of Optics, which is Ilya. You have Affordable Optics, our Canadian friend. You have Joe, Shooting Gallery New England, Flying Rich. Steven. You'll soon see Whisper Tactical. More of... we all collaborate, we all try to work together. And so if God forbid one of us gets shut down, there's ways we can spread our message or let you know where to find us through others. So unless they ban us all at the same time, we're good.
true. So what else was I going to say? Yeah, so just keep out for new content coming up. I don't upload as much. I don't upload as much as Slav and a couple of the other guys because I work 50, 60 hours a week at points. But I will be getting a lot more content out there and getting you guys established. I got a new barrel video coming out. We got the PRS rifle video. We'll probably have the rest of the stuff for that in the next couple weeks. I know Slav has got some fun stuff for you guys. I've got some stuff. And we're going to be doing this a couple times a week, hopefully, for the next couple weeks, if everything works out. If you guys go back, watch a couple of the prior days, big discussions were the Vortex binoculars, the new Savage rifle, which has been a big discussion the last couple of weeks with us. So... And we also, like Slav said, we got Matt coming from FMJ Marketing. And it's always fun when we have him on.
Because he is a shooter.
He is a shooter. He is a competition shooter too. So he isn't just a bench rest guy. So he does understand the market, and we can all it's fun when we all sit there and have discussions and we can come to agree or disagree or anything like that. So I mean, it's fun.
Yep.
But one live stream you guys might want to look forward to is next month. I am going to have Gunfather Precision on for.
Cool.
We're going to have a ballistics night. So we're going to be talking ballistics with different calipers and different platforms. So it should be interesting and fun.
So I pulled up Derek's channel. If you're not subscribed to him yet, go and subscribe. Northwest Gun Reviewers. Go. I will even put it up in chat. And actually, and the links are also in the description. So if you're watching the replay, just click down. You have links to both of our channels on YouTube and on Odyssey. All right, I'm starting to lose my voice.
Okay.
It was awesome. It was fun. We went for another 2.5 hours. Gonna go have some dinner, spend some time with the kiddos, and then I will see you guys tomorrow. We're going to talk precision rifles, and that's going to be a very lively discussion.
Yes. I think we'll be on for a little while tomorrow night.
All right. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Keep on squatting, and I'll see you in the next video.
See you guys on day 5.